Hi kids, welcome to Art Club at the Strasburg-Heisler Public Library. Today we have a really special project. Today's Earth Day, and so we wanted a project that dealt with gardens. Now you may have a garden outside of your house, but for some people that live in the city, it's kind of hard to have a garden. Oftentimes when I walk through the city, I'll look at the shops and my eyes are down at this level. But when I look up, there's something wonderful up there. Some places actually have put plants on the tops of their buildings. And today, we're going to make one of those gardens. We're going to make our own private rooftop garden diorama. Now, to get started on your project, there's a few things that you're going to need. You're going to need a cardboard box. You're going to need some additional pieces of cardboard. You'll want to have some old magazines, some paper of different colors, maybe some felt, maybe some pipe cleaners. You'll want some glue, some scissors, and some old bottle caps. To get started on your project, the very first thing that you're going to need is a cardboard box. One just like this. And once you have it, you're going to want to paint or use a black marker or something on one side so that you have the very top of your building. Once you have that done, you'll want to create stones or rock or brick for the outside of your building. Now on my box here, and you can see it is a box just down below, what I did was I took old scrapbook paper that already had bricks on it and I put it around my box. After you have that done, you're going to want to create the ledge of your rooftop garden. To do this, you'll get a piece of cardboard about the same size as your box and cut out the center. Go ahead and glue that down. If you want it a little thicker than that, you can make another piece of cardboard to go right on top of this with the same cutout, and it'll just make it a little bit taller. After you're done with that, what I did was I took gray foam and I laid it on top of here, and I wrapped it around the edge just so that it looked like it was a little bit thicker. You could do something like that. If you don't have gray foam though, you could take a gray marker, you could take some gray paint or a gray crayon and just make that kind of stonish look on the very top of your building. Once you have all of that done, you'll want to decorate your store. I'm not really sure what type of store Bob's is, but I decided it was something like a vintage store. So I put the old record player down here, and I put an advertisement on the side. And to make those, I used old magazines. I cut out a puppy dog, and I glued him on there. And I cut out this advertisement, and I put that on the side of my building. You can make your store all kinds of different things. Just look through a few magazines and pick out some things that you like and glue them in the store window. To make my door and my window, I just glued on some paper and I took some scrapbook tape. It kind of looks like duct tape, so if you have duct tape you could use that too, and it gives it that industrial look. I put a little open sign in my door, and my son said that my door needed a doorknob, so I made this little handle stick out just like that. Now, we're ready for the top of our garden, and there's all kinds of different things that you could do on this part. So let's just take a moment and look at some of these different elements. The first thing that we want to tackle on top of our rooftop garden is our tree. Our tree is three-dimensional. It sticks out on all the different sides. So how do we make something like that? Well, let me show you something that's really easy to do. I went to my kitchen and I found that my wife had a box of glass canning jars. And in between the canning jars, there was something like this, that there was a space for each one. Now, if I take something like this, and I take one section of that, and I cut down, just like that, I get this part here. It's one piece of cardboard that's going with a cut going up, and one piece of cardboard with a cut going down. And they go together. Something like that. Now, if I take those 4 sections and I fold them like this, I can take my scissors and start cutting through 2 of them, making my trunk, making my branches kind of come out to the side. This is really roughly done, but it'll at least give you the idea. You can take a little bit more time and care there, but you start to have the sides of a tree coming out like this. I cut individual branches as well when I was doing mine. Once you have those done, you can actually fold the bottom pieces so that your tree can stand. That's what I did here. You can look right in there and see how I folded down to make my roots coming out of my tree. On the branches here, what you want to do is create individual leaves. And I used a lot of different materials to do this. I used some green felt. I used some green scrapbook paper. You could use construction paper. There's also some different textures in here because I went to magazines. And I took pieces like this where there's green and I cut out individual leaves. And then I glued them all on there so that no matter which way I turn my tree, you still see the leaves on my tree. Pretty easy tree to make. So let's see what you can do. The very next part of our garden that we want to look at is our flowers. Now there's lots of different ways that you can put flowers in your garden. You could cut some out of magazines and just glue them to the roof itself. Make a little flower garden up there. You could make little boxes along the edges. Or you could make potted plants. And that's what I'm going to show you an example of right now. Now, because this is my rooftop garden, there had to be sunflowers. So to make my sunflower, the first thing that I needed was a bottle cap. This is from like an orange juice bottle. You take it off the top. And the way that it's made, there's actually a little part inside that another bottle lid fits in really easy. On this one that I made here, you'll notice that there's grass around the edge. And I actually got that by cutting out of a magazine. I just cut where there was some grass in a picture, and I made little spiky things. So a piece something like this, and then just cutting down. Just making individual spikes, just like that. Once you have that, you can put it inside of where that little hole was, and take the other bottle top and put it down inside, and it'll hold it secure. If it's not quite secure, you can also use just a dab of glue down there and make sure that it stays down in. Now once we have this bottle cap here, we're going to take some cardboard and we're going to cut it in a circle that fits down inside of that. We're going to put a hole through it. You may need to ask mom and dad to use some scissors, but you can make a little hole just right in the center there. And you decide whether or not you're doing just 1 flower or 2, and that just tells you how many holes that you need down here. You'll take a pipe cleaner and stick it through. Kind of bunch it up into a little knot there on the bottom. You'll take some felt. Now in my case, I took some orange felt and I cut it out and I put a little slit in the center. That little slit, my pipe cleaner goes through. I fold it over, and again I make my little bunch, my little knot there in the center. And then I'll take my yellow felt and I'll cut out some individual leaves. Just little teardrops. And I will glue them onto there. Now, you may find, as I did, that sometimes the felt doesn't want to stick together. You'll need some pretty strong glue to do that. But after you have it done, what you can do is you can take your glue and make a big glob right in the center. of your flower. Let it sit. You don't want to put it straight up because it'll just run off. But let it sit and set. And once it's there and it starts to dry, it'll actually get clear in the center. You'll take that, you'll put it in your lid. You may want to put some glue down there again, but you can kind of scrunch the cardboard in. Get it down in that one. You'll have your grass around it. If you want to add some leaves to this, you can cut some leaves out of felt as well and put them around. Again, I found that my glue didn't want to stick, so I actually took a stapler and stapled my leaves on inside of here. And just that easy, you've got your own plant to put in up on top of your rooftop garden. We have just one more project that we want to show you here on top of our rooftop garden. And it's this little spider plant right here. He looks pretty hard to make, but he really isn't. What you're going to need to start is the lid from a water bottle. You'll need some green paper and some tape. Now, you're going to take that green paper and you're going to start by making just a little tube that fits down inside of your lid. You'll tape it right there so that you have a little tube just like this. It fits right down inside of there. After you have it, you're going to take your scissors and you'll start to make slits down, just like this. Not the whole way through, but just to a certain point, so that they're kind of even. Once you have them, you'll take your scissors, not open, but closed, and you'll start to take them like this, and just rub them against the outside so that it kind of curls. Have you ever done that with ribbon, where you kind of curl your ribbon when you're making a package? Well, that's kind of what we're doing here. We're going to do each individual one. Make them kind of curly. Now, it may happen along the way that you accidentally rip one off, just like that. And you know what? That's okay, because not every plant is symmetrical. They grow in funny ways. So this one, I guess the bug's got that leaf. It helps to have sturdier paper though while you're doing this. And once you have it something like that, you're going to open your scissors back up, and I haven't seen too many plants that have rectangle or square edges at the end. So we're going to take our scissors and we're going to make them kind of pointy so that it actually looks like a plant leaf. Do a few of these here and I'll show you exactly how that looks. Starting to see some of my edges there and how they look a little bit more like a plant. Once you have them all done and it fits down inside of your lid, you may notice that there's this huge hole right in the center. How you deal with that is you just make a tighter loop of paper and you do the exact same thing. Here are mine on the top. You can see that there's one inside of the other. At the bottom of that loop, just make 4 slits. 1, 2, 3. Oh, there's my 4th. And you can actually fold out that section to become part of the stand that's helping it stand up inside of the other. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, you've got your own spider plant that you can add to your rooftop garden. We hope you've had fun making your own rooftop garden today. We'd love to see how it turns out. Send us a picture. We'd love to see it. Until then, enjoy the process, and we're looking forward to seeing you when you get back here for our next Art Club video.